Hello, my fellow Kaijudo Duel Masters. This is Mark Wooden, also known as Raijinku to the online community out there. And today, I'm coming to you live from Seattle, Washington for the first ever Kaijudo Championship Tournament. We're here in the finals, and we've got Bobby Brake on the left, playing against Robbie Stewart on the right. Now, Bobby is running a 54-card Leviathan control deck, utilizing Water, Dark, and Light. Whereas Robbie is actually running a 46-card Water Dark Fire Light Dragon deck, which he likes to call Birds of War. Ironically enough, the reason for this is he runs a lot of the Firebirds that help him get out the dragons a lot quicker, since every Firebird reduces the cost of a dragon by 1. Now we see one of the interesting tech choices from Bobby going to the mana there, King Coral. This is primarily meant to combat people that use Keeper of Laws, and also blockers too. It gets rid of all level 4s that are on the board, puts them back to the owner's hands. And we see a turn 3 Mesmerize come from Bobby. It's looking like Robbie's in a rough spot right now. He didn't have those early turn birds that he wanted to see. Instead, he's got a couple of Bone Blades, a Hyperspeed Dragon, and a Lyra the Blazing Sun. But the Lyra is going to the discard pile. And it's looking like he doesn't have a lot of plays right now. So Robbie's trying to set up as best he can with what he has. Now, Bobby and Robbie are actually local players to the Texas area. They attend the same local, and they've actually attended a couple different KMCs where they actually qualified back-to-back. Now, Robbie plays that Hyperspeed Dragon, and it seems to be matched with a King Neptus. Which I had mentioned earlier, this Spike Shell ability makes it so it's unaffected by all spells and abilities that target it. So cards like Lyra the Blazing Sun or Terrapit, they just can't do anything to stop it. When that's combined with a Keeper of Laws, you have 2 cards that are really difficult to deal with. Alright, so we see a Crystal Memory come down, which will actually allow Bobby to look through his entire deck, choose any card he needs for the situation, and add it to his hand. This also gives him valuable information, as he can, through the process of elimination, figure out what's in his shields. So we see Robbie go to 7 mana, and he's still having no plays right now. And we see a Mesmerize again from Bobby. Now, he looks like he's choosing the Shade Blaze the Corruptor. It's probably a good call since now Robbie is now up to 8 mana. Now, he does have that other card in his hand, which happens to be Infernus the Awakened. He actually has a Storm Spark as well, so he could throw mana down right now and summon the Infernus, but he actually chooses not to. I'm stunned by this play. He could have potentially went in for 4 shields and locked out any of those small creatures or blockers that Bobby may have wanted to play. Instead, we see a Crystal Memory into a Mesmerize to get rid of that Awakened. Again, we're just seeing Robbie in a really, really tough spot right now. Now, he is able to follow up with a General Skycrusher, which will give his other attacking creatures powerful attack plus 3000, which is useful. But against Andromeda, it's not so much. But conveniently enough for Robbie, he was able to find a Terrapit and take down the Andromeda, although Andromeda left a couple shields in its wake. And it looks like we have that combo that I had mentioned earlier on the board. The Keeper of Laws and King Neptus play. But Stormspark Blast is able to get around that since it does not target. And he's able to take the Neptus and the Keeper of Laws down. Now all we're seeing from Bobby is a single Aqua Strider. Probably just trying to buy some extra time at the moment. And it's looking like Robbie's just not attacking. He has the ability to go in there, but is opting not to. And now we're seeing a Wave Lancer on Bobby's side. It's a really interesting creature. It is a Leviathan as well, which you can just reuse over and over again, which can create some really interesting plays with King Coral. But if it were to be banished, it returns back to the owner's hand. And off of Bottle of Wishes, we actually just see a Lux come down, although I'm sure Robbie was hoping for a Dreadclaw Dark Herald to return all of his dragons in his discard back to his hand. And we see a King Tritonus finally hit the board on Bobby's side. This is pretty much the nail in the coffin that Bobby needed, since all of his water creatures now gain plus 4,000 power, putting his blockers at a ridiculous amount of power. And he's just rubbing it in further by playing cards like Toxic Fog, which got rid of 2 of Robbie's birds. In the process, Tritonus' ability kicks in, where he can constrict and target a creature, make it so it can't attack or block. But that's not really looking like it's going to matter right now, seeing as he just played a Stormspark, allowing him to attack every one of his creatures except for that lone Hyperspeed Dragon. And it's just looking like Robbie just admits defeat. There's not much way for him to make a comeback there. So we're going to go on to game 2. Alright, Robbie starts out with a Dual Civilization in the mana. Same with Bobby. It's usually a good turn 1, turn 2 play. But again, from Bobby, we're not seeing any early plays, and the same with Robbie. Oh, but we do see an Umbra come down. This will be nice if he gets a dragon out. It'll be able to give it Slayer. And it also reduces the cost of dragons. And it looks like Robbie's actually going on the offensive this time. Probably trying to hope to get as early advantage as he can, so that Robbie can just get in there. And we see a Fumes come down, and it looks like an Andromeda's dropped from hand. And looking at Robbie's hand right now, he's probably regretting that decision. He drew into a Piercing Judgment. He very well could have played the Piercing Judgment, bounced back his own Umbra, tapped down the Fumes, attacked it with the Herald, and brought out his Andromeda. But that's the way this game goes sometimes. You can never know what you're going to draw, unless, of course, you're playing Predict. So we see a bottle coming down from Bobby. I'm sure he's hoping for a Tritonus. Even a Squilla Scourge would be interesting. But he has lots of live targets. And we'll just see what the variance brings us. And there's a lot of shuffling going on there. And we see a Terror Pit come out, which will deal with the Herald of Infernus. We see a Lyra come down, tap down the Umbra, and a very swift attack from Fumes. We're not seeing a whole lot of plays coming down from Robbie. He's pretty much in top deck mode, And he's basically trying to get ones for ones as much as he can. So instead of playing the bottle, he puts it to mana so that he can play Shade Blaze the Corruptor to get a little revenge over there on the Fumes. So he actually has the option to attack right now because Fumes did go to the discard pile. And that's exactly why he didn't attack, because he saw that and that Andromeda play. So right now it's looking like Robbie's just trying to throw stuff on board so that he can potentially go in there. But we do see an Andromeda hit the board, followed by a Tritonus. This is looking very, very bad for Robbie. Alright, we see a Crystal Memory, followed by a Stormspark Blast, which allows him to clear Robbie's board. Not a whole lot left for Robbie to do except hope and pray that he has something in his Shield Blast. And we see a King Neptus and a Keeper of Laws. And that's it. That's it, everyone. We have a new Kaijudo champion. Congratulations to Bobby Break and Robbie Stewart.